On today's episode, we're going to talk about products you can use to make expat life easier. While I can pretty much get everything I need in Germany, it's not 100%. This episode will focus on things you need to keep certain connections to, well, specifically the States. So let's run down a list of what you can use to fill the gaps you're missing. Hello, you Lieblings. I'm Mari, a science fiction and fantasy author who's been living in southern Germany since 2014. So, before we get started, a couple housekeeping announcements. First, you like my new glasses? Usually I don't wear glasses because I figure that the light would reflect off of them, but I think they are a little bit because they do have a blue light filter. I think you can kind of tell, but I don't care today, so I feel like wearing I like my glasses. What do you think? Also, I have created a new channel specifically for all of my writing episodes, which means they will slowly be taken off of this channel. And by taken off, it means they will be unlisted. They may be privated. We'll see. But either way, I don't want to delete them, obviously, because then I will lose all the data. But the thing is, YouTube is still recommending these videos, which is fine. I think they're good episodes, but the problem is, like, it's doing that with my expat stuff, and I don't think people really know what the hell to do with my channel. And my writing and my expat, technically I'm both, but trying to, like, that's a very small niche that, like, if you have a Venn diagram of, like, expat stuff and writing stuff, they don't really overlap very well. So unfortunately, honestly, they should have been two channels to begin with. And I know it's taking me like 2 years to finally accept it, but, you know, here we are. So, back to the episode. I was inspired to do this topic because one of my besties, my twin actually, will be moving to Europe in the next few years. And I am, like, really, really stoked. Like, holy heck, I am really stoked. And you know I'm talking about you because you watch my channel. You know how stoked I am that you're moving. Hemila, lovely Hemila. So anyway, she'll be moving to Spain, which is also equally as awesome because my husband and I love Spain. So yay, vacation home. We're coming to your house. Anywho, so with today's technology, honestly, you can move to a new country and I mean, yeah, you still have to give up some stuff. Yeah, of course. But there are a lot of things that you're able to essentially take with you compared to, say, when my mom moved from Peru to the States in the 80s. I can't English. Anyway, whether it's television, food, or even finances, or even taxes, there are services that can help you with your American abroad needs. So I guess lists are my thing now. Number one is a good VPN/DNS. There are a lot of YouTubers who are sponsored by either NordVPN or ExpressVPN or, I don't know, the whole bunch of different ones. I've never used any of those. I don't know. I personally use StrongVPN just because they were owned by, it was a different company, but then they got bought by StrongVPN. Even then, I actually don't even use a VPN. I use a DNS. And if these acronyms make absolutely no sense to you, let me kind of back up a little bit. So a VPN means a virtual private network, and a DNS means a domain name system. And simply put, people use them to essentially trick their electronics into thinking that they're in another country. This is great to either protect your electronics from people finding you or governments, or if you want to watch certain films and TV shows from other countries. In my case, stuff from America. I personally use a DNS because when I first moved to Germany in 2014, I found the DNS to be easier and it only cost me like $6 a month. We use a DNS with just specifically our PlayStation so I can watch American Amazon Prime as well as Hulu, which is only available in the States. And it did work with American Netflix for a while, but Netflix actually knows what I'm doing and blocks certain content anyway, so lame. So in all honesty, I don't really mind watching German Netflix because the selection is already overwhelming. But I will say German Prime can be quite rude. There was a time I wanted to watch The Mummy that was on Prime, but it was only available with German audio. Like, rude. When I say rude, really rude. Because I wanted to hear Brendan Fraser's American voice, not like the German fake voice. Hashtag sorry, not sorry. If you want to be able to watch stuff from the States, I suggest going either the VPN or DNS route. Number 2, Magic Jack. So whenever I go back to the States, I need a phone. Americans don't really use WhatsApp, and not everyone has an iPhone to use iMessage. When I first moved to Germany, my parents kept my old cell phone number attached to their account because it was literally like an extra $10 a month. And I know in Germany, you're going to think like, oh my God, $10 a month is a lot, but cell phone accounts in the States are stupid expensive. So adding an extra 10 is like not much. Also, I'm not going to lie, I didn't want to give up that number because I've had this number since I was 16 and I'm very nostalgic and I don't like change, says the person who moved to a different continent. However, it was brought to my attention, especially this most recent trip, that now it costs 4 times more to keep that same number. And my parents are retired, so obviously it was like, okay, no, you know what? How the hell did that happen? Like, the fact that the cost went up 4 times in the last 7 years is ridiculous, America. Ridiculous. So obviously we needed to change that. Also, there's a whole point to this. You have to bear with me with the story time thing. But before I had moved to the States, my parents had also set me up with Magic Jack. I promise this all makes sense. So a Magic Jack is a voice over internet protocol, or VoIP, and it allows you to use data or internet to make phone calls. You are then given an American number, and people in the States can actually call you, and you can call anyone back home, and you don't have to worry about international fees. You can even use it for Americans. You can also use this as like your actual phone. My parents have actually gotten rid of whatever their phone provider was and just went with Magic Jack. So Magic Jack has not only an app, but it also has a separate dongle that you can attach to a phone. So like I said, my parents, they have their dongle attached to each of their phones in the house. And I, for example, have my own dongle. I went and bought like a 25 euro phone from MediaMarkt, plugged in the dongle, and I have a phone that is dedicated to the US. Honestly, it's a pretty sweet deal, and it only costs like $125 for a 5-year contract. You can choose to either have a random number given to you with the area code of your choice. So I had an Indianapolis area code, which is 317, or you can work with your current telephone or cell phone provider to transfer a number you already own. And that's what we did with my cell phone number. So now my Magic Jack number is my old American cell phone number, and I have the app on my phone. So now I don't even need a second phone when I go to the States. However, I do pay extra to be able to use data through my German cell phone provider in the States, but we also use this as a hotspot for my husband when we're in the States, so like he can use my phone. So yeah, it was I think not much more extra a month. So in the end, again, it just it wasn't that much on our end. So it's pretty awesome, to be honest. And when I say that, like, I mean, anybody from the States can call me. Like, they can call me directly onto my German phone, which is cool. And I know that some of you are thinking, well, just convince people to use WhatsApp because then it's free for everybody, which, yes. However, Magic Jack allows me to also call landlines. That means I can call my parents' house because they don't always have their cell phones on them. So I know that if they don't pick up through WhatsApp, I can call the house through Magic Jack. You can't do that with WhatsApp. So it's absolutely worth it as if you're an American abroad and you want to call your older relatives that don't really use their cell phones that much, or if they don't, they have cell phones. Trust me, it's good. Number 3 is TransferWise. I still have certain accounts in the States that require that I have an American bank account. For example, paying for Hulu. Or when I buy gifts through Amazon.com to send to my relatives within the States, and also retirement stuff. So you may have seen other episodes where I complain about the US tax system being a nightmare for Americans abroad. And I have to admit, it does make saving for retirement rather difficult. However, my broker in the States is actually my parents' next door neighbor. So I got my hook up there. So it's part of why it's easy for me to put money towards retirement through him because, I see him when I go home. Regardless, it has been a benefit having an American account when I come home, especially because I'll put in money into this account and I use my American debit card when I'm in the States. But how do you transfer the money? Because while German banks make it super easy to move money around, like anywhere, US banks don't like to play with others. You usually have to use like some kind of third-party app, which is exactly what this is, but it's the cheapest. Because I used to use PayPal, and PayPal is stupid expensive. So that's where TransferWise comes into play. It allows me to send money to the States, and through TransferWise, working directly with the IRS, I was able to get both of my stimulus checks from Uncle Trump and Uncle Biden because TransferWise works in conjunction with my next point, which is number 4, my expat taxes. Like I said in other videos, the US and Eritrea are the only 2 countries that tax their citizens based on citizenship and not on residency. And that means I gotta fill out taxes for both Germany and the US, and it can be very expensive because everyone thinks Americans living abroad are just rolling in money, and trust me, that's not true. So finding someone to help you with your American taxes that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg is very hard. I have worked with my expat taxes for the last few years, and honestly, I cannot recommend them enough. This is not a sponsored episode. There probably will be another one next year around tax time because they are both awesome and affordable, and I'm super happy to work with them anytime. Yeah. And number 5, last on my list, is my American market. For a good while, I can only find a small number of overpriced American stuff through Amazon Deutschland. It's so overpriced, it actually hurts. So you can imagine my delight upon discovering my American market. It's a French-based company that can get you your American fix at much, much better prices. Yay. Food. Anyway, so what do you think? What other services do you think you need from America while living abroad? Let me know in the comments below. Yeah, extra note. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by any of these companies because they're just companies that I've been working with or just been using for the almost 8 years that I've been living in Germany. So I very much stand by them personally. But if any of you would like to sponsor me, do it. Please, with a cherry on top. I will say yes. And that's my list. Thank you so much for joining me and supporting me. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up. Please leave me a comment if you have any questions or if there's a certain topic you'd like to see on this channel. If you want fun escapism, my space fantasy, The God Queen, and its sequel, The Last Imperator, are available in ebook, paperback, and hardback. I have all the links in the description below. If you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get a free short story as well as some behind-the-scenes goodies. And don't forget to connect with me on social media, whether it is through Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or Facebook. And that's it. Until next time, adi.